What is going on, everybody? It is your Colonial Champion, Sean McCarty, here today for another match of the week. As always, here on Tuesdays, we have not been up to date with these recently. We have been very poor on actually doing these. But here we are, once again, making up for lost time. Last week, I had intended, because last week was March 16th, and it was Steve Austin Day, I wanted to do this match then. Just did not have the time. So instead, we're doing it this week. So a week after Steve Austin Day, we're going to honor Steve Austin. And if, as a nice little teaser leading into the Core Martial podcast this coming week, this coming Friday, the show we are going to be doing is going to include a very fun topic that includes AEW and WWE. We've also got a very exciting set of news that Skylar is going to set to us. We have got a terrific, we're going to be reviewing this matchup that you and I are going to be watching together, as well as going on the life and times, the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin, all the way from the Stunning Steve days into his ECW, even maybe into stuff before that. Who knows? You'll know, and I'll know, and we'll know together come this Friday. So stay tuned for that. But we've got a match that was really right in the thick of the Attitude Era. I mean, the absolute thick of the Attitude Era. It is the Stone Cold Steve Austin, who is on a meteoric rise at this point. He was off to the races. 97 was very kind to him, but of course, leading into 98, the take from Shawn, and then leading into his feud with The Undertaker that eventually led to him running afoul of Kane, and then Vince McMahon and Dude Love was in the mix. Steve Austin was a little bit of everywhere, but as the top guy, he was able to do that with very strong semblances and very strong perseverance, because he was just, there was no stopping Stone Cold Steve Austin. There's no doubt about that. The Undertaker at this point had really established himself as a stalwart in WWE. You know, he was one of those guys who was there and could always be relied on him being there, but there was always something different going on with him, even though his gimmick didn't really change that much from place to place. It's just that the Undertaker was always able to morph what his gimmick was to the certain situations, and then of course going more straight, more Calloway when he did Biker Taker, and of course that's for later on, and that's a story for another day. But right now, The Undertaker was also feuding with Kane, so that was also part of his deal. And Paul Bearer betrayed him, and then Taker and Mankind just, I think, 2 months prior to this. Wrestle, was it? I think it was at the Hell in a Cell. So there was The Undertaker was also just as busy in 1998, really making WWE and the Attitude Era, which had not yet even peaked, but it was really gaining ground, and some of the stuff that was going on at this time was really exciting and still had some semblance of logic based into it that wasn't so much, you know, the Jerry Springer, Vince Russo brand of booking. And I'm not even particularly knocking on that during this particular moment. But in any case, I'm excited to watch this match. I have not seen SummerSlam 98 in some time. This was the same show that had The Rock and Triple H for the Intercontinental Championship ladder match, which I remember being really fun. I believe, I want to say that Chainsaw Charlie and Mick Foley faced. No, because they had already turned babyface. I'm sorry. So that can't be right. I think they had already. I forget who the Outlaws faced during this, but in any event, we'll have to look at this actual card here later on. But right now, we are in it for purely Steve Austin and The Undertaker. So we, of course, if you have not seen the link on the match, I have put the link not only in the description, but also with a live chat replay. So either one, you will be able to see it for what it's worth. Let's get this going here. We're going to start at 000. The name of the match is Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Undertaker. Full match, WWE title match, SummerSlam 1998. The channel is WWE, so prepare for ads, because I know they're coming. I've tried everything I can to stop the ads from coming, but I know you're going to hit them. So if you need to pause me, pause me. If you are watching this live, then I implore you, I'm going to try to do my best, but please, I implore you to bear with me, because I'm trying to do the timestamps as best as I can for where I am as far as continuing the match. those of us who are watching later on have the benefit of the doubt of going back to be able to actually piece it together and do from that. And what I might do is I might put in some timestamps actually, like in the comments at some point during one of these at some point, to actually make the process even easier. But with that said, let's get this going, shall we? So here we go, 000. We are going to start, of course, get through your ad if you have to for the opening. And we are going to start. And when I say let's go, I'm going to click in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Business has picked up. And immediately going for a right hand to counter. I'm going to do my best not to talk over JR, but also I need to make sure that I keep some commentary in this business, because the YouTube algorithm is such that they will, if you leave too much untampered audio in it, they will try to do things to it, even though it is a live reaction. But now this is already after Austin had gone through his whole neck surgery and whatnot, so Austin was working a different style here. The cover one. Oh, boo that. Then they censored the middle finger. Oh, what's the point then? What's the point? It's a 23-minute match, so I'm expecting we're going to get quite a few ads here. Now, I like how they slowed this right down. They start out hot with the punches, but then they go to the wrist locks, and then they go to more of the chain wrestling. That was an interesting pull-in for a... And they're actually wrestling pretty technical here, which is going to be surprising some people here in is this MSG? I think it was. I think this was MSG. I think so, because they just, judging from where the tunnel is to come out, they really only ever shot Madison Square Garden like this, where they had that tunnel right down the center. On the Kane factor, Kane and Mankind, chances are they're both going to get in here in some fashion. Of course, Vince McMahon was really the true heel in this, as always. Undertaker just a means to an end, not to take anything away from him. But that was... I think that was a miscommunication. I think Austin just tripped and just sold it like death. This is funny, but thankfully they were able to recover from that well enough. A nice counter there by Undertaker. And that's right, Austin was currently champion at this point. And Austin was just trying to hold on to that belt for everything he was worth. And it would end up being Kane who took it off him, if I'm not mistaken, when I don't think Taker took it off Austin first. I think Kane did. And then they had the one-on-one match. Because Austin, it was the first blood match, right? Where it was the first blood match where Austin got Juice. Kane got Austin Juice, so they lost the match. So Kane became the champion, and then they did the one-on-one the night afterwards. And good stuff. Oh, here's the ad. I'm sorry, I didn't even see it coming. And they won't let me skip it. So it's a unpreventable ad which they are really nasty at doing right now. Everyone fire taxes. 408 right now, 410 as we speak. Yep. 18, 419, 420. Hey! And so. Now look out, see, and this is the kind of intensity that's missing from wrestlers. You see how nasty Taker lays in those stomps. That's why I got so upset with Wardlow, why his looked like deer taps. Because they didn't look like they did anything. They looked like he was deliberately trying to pull them, rather than looking like it's laying in and knowing how to not actually do the damage. And now working on the leg is Austin. Smart. Although I kind of doubt that Austin's going to hook a figure four here. But Austin, since his neck surgery, there was a lot more smash mouth in Austin's bit. But, you know, it's kind of like Austin knew how to do wrist locks and headlock takeovers and all the wrestling stuff. But very similarly to Hogan, the people didn't come to see Austin do wrestling. They came to see Austin be Austin. You know, stomp a mud hole and walk it dry. And Austin's punches look great. I always thought the Taker's flying clothesline was fun because he didn't really ever look like he clotheslined anyone. But he flew up just high enough to make it look like he got him just enough to make it work. You have to imagine this crowd was pretty drained after that Intercontinental title match. Which I think happened not directly before this, but I went for old school, and that was I don't think that went exactly like they wanted to. That was supposed to be an arm drag, and it kind of was an arm drag. I like when Austin always makes this comeback. He just goes for a mad flurry. Oh, here comes Kane through the fiery gates. The Demon Seed. I thought that was Shane McMahon, JR. Oh, and Austin's busted open. Busted his lip. That's got to be Kane. Oh, right, yeah, his cage tried to tell her. Undertaker's like, yo, get out of here. No one wants you here. Now, was this part of Taker's... I don't know if it was even considered a babyface turn, because Taker not shortly thereafter from this moment... I guess Taker was the face in this situation. And then more further turned heel when he made the Ministry of Darkness and took the Acolytes. And why you would go after Kane at that moment, I mean, he didn't want to, because Kane had done some fellery prior to that. Sorry, we got a middle of an ad here. Don't forget to pay your cell phone bills, everybody. All right, we are at 8:10. It's usually about like every 4 minutes or so we get an ad. More or less every 4.5, or 4 and change, like 4 minutes and 4 seconds. Now going for, choke slam. Oh, he went for the choke slam and he came back in the ring. Now, see, if this were a modern match, that would have been a choke slam on the apron, which, as everybody knows, is the hardest part of the ring. And now it looks like Austin might have gotten. Oh, no. That was just the streamer or something. It almost looked like he got caught in the back of his head. God, and that was so smooth. I mean, it was so gritty, but it was so smooth just in the way that Taker was he was still selling it, but he was right in the spot that he needed to be. Stone Cold sucks. Wow, somebody's edgy, huh? Somebody's edgy in 1998. Maybe he just was a big Undertaker fan. Yeah, Earl Hebner's not even trying. See, and this is one of those things the Attitude Era started that I didn't, is Earl Hebner just going in there with them, trying to urge them to come back. This is part of what the Attitude Era was about is, go brawl in for like 18, when they were brawling through the fans for like a huge amount of time. And somebody had a Goldberg Sucks shirt. Looking at all these different signs. Goldberg is the man. It's hard to, I'm looking at all these shows because I'm looking at all these because I'm looking at the signs more because I'm just kind of waiting to, there's so much going on with the people. It's hard to even see the guys. Now here we go. Now clothesline back out. Where did they go in from? Maybe it was from that spot. Yeah, it must have been from that spot. Yeah, that was a nasty backdrop. That was a real nasty backdrop. That was slam into the turnbuckle, or I'm sorry, the ring post. But now here we are, the same thing we critique AEW for. These guys have been out of the ring for the better part of 2.5 minutes before, they're coming in, and that's the thing. I understand this is a one-on-one match. Now, see, if this was done rarely, where the referee used his discretion, that's one thing. But the fact that we have to suspend our disbelief for like every matchup, that's where I draw the line. And very rarely when it's like, all right, Hebner's going to allow this because this match deserves this spot. This match deserves to let these two just fight it out. That's one thing. But when you have to do that for every single match, that's where it gets a little too, a little out of control for me. That's just me. But just in case you're wondering how come this is okay and how come those are not, and also the talent is much better here and drew far more money here than anybody in AEW currently is or ever has. Except maybe Sting. And it's going into the more of just kicks here. And of course, this was not going to be, this is full-fledged Attitude Era WWF. There was not going to be a shine the babyface heel spot, heat spot comeback. I mean, there will be heat spot comeback, but they still made this very much back and forth. Oh, that was not a good. That was not the greatest of vaults over the top rope. That would have been a disqualification in ACPW or in WCW. Old school WCW. Now this announce table, which actually looks like an announce table, looks like something that they might want to actually sit at. But they still do the thing of and this is of course the mandatory pay-per-view announce table spot. And you know, it was one thing when it was here, but for honestly, WWE's long-term success has ultimately become its greatest hindrance because we've seen every table spot known to man, and now they just do not have the significance they once had. And everybody's standing up knowing this is a big moment. This is another thing I miss in pro wrestling is all the cameras, the flashes on the cameras to get this shot. You don't get this with the cell phone era. Oh no. Oh no, that leg drop. Oh, God, Taker's pissed. He's pissed. That did not go the way that they had wanted that to go. So let's see what did go right here. Taker didn't land anywhere near Austin. Austin slid off the table. Taker slid off the table. And now they just throw the table. Earl Hebner now pushes the table and the whole table breaks. Oh, God, that's a riot. Oh, leg jump. Oh, yeah, he totally missed him. Taker totally overshot that. And the second, yeah, that's the only angle that looked like he hit. But every other angle they shot that at, you could tell he clearly missed. And then they both just slid off the table and nothing broke. And you could tell Mark was mad. He was mad when there was one shot of him right after that. He's like, son of a bitch. But I bet there's a lot of fond memories from nostalgic people. From I was there the day that Undertaker leg dropped Austin down that table. But man, that was a botch. But man, talk about the crowd not caring. Because they care far more about these two guys than they do about the execution of the moves. And that is what is missing. What a whip. What a whip. Taker, I like how Taker crashes and burns and just out of frustration just keeps clobbering Austin. You can tell from the Goldberg shows and all that this and all this WCW things this and for some other ones too. This is a smarky audience, but that's Madison Square Garden for you. It's double clothesline. Yeah, but there's no way that they would ever end it on these guys just sitting up like this. Man, Austin did not really have that much in the way of facial hair, did he? Like as far as like length and things like that. Not knocking it, just Austin's bloody mouth. I know that he never died. He always just ended up biting his lip for one reason or another. But Austin always ended up finding juice. Most of the time, even by accident, too. Few Ric Flair fans in the audience. This is SummerSlam. I think Flair had not come back. Maybe I don't think he had come back yet. And those punches, those anytime he did the Lou Thesz and the punches, those punches got weaker and weaker the more that he did them. Like it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But you can tell this is really, there is a lot of wrestling here, but not a whole lot of brawling here. And what was that? They all just slanted. This is the second time that these two just landed on each other awkwardly. I don't even know what that was, but they both just it was like a double coffin drop. That's what Steve Austin was channeling Darby Allin. That must be what it was. I have a feeling we're going to get at least one more ad in here, and I assume that we're going to get at least a little bit of the afters in this situation. Stunner. God, these guys, somebody's gassed or they're just having an off night. Because they're even that was, I mean, it's one thing to be said to have like a match be like gruff and clunky a little bit, just because at least to be gruff, just for the sake of the grit of like the intensity of the two fighters. But this has just been clunky. Yeah, and this crowd must have been gassed from Triple H and The Rock, because that sit up got Taker way less than he thought. So this crowd must have been gassed. Taker's sitting there. I don't know. He doesn't look like he's too happy right now. There we go. And now Austin is getting his name coming in. You know what's sad is you never really know what Kevin Dunn did and did not put in for that. Although in this situation, you wouldn't need to. Went for old school, and what did he get? A punch? Oh, he got a low blow. I see. And a stunner. And the stunner, that was the pop. Why was Earl counting that slow? But you notice that they didn't have a whole lot of there weren't a whole lot of covers in that matchup at all. It was pretty much just brawling and some moves. Not a whole lot of holds, but boy, that was a brawl, but it was a bit rough. That was a bit rough. And I think Taker's slowly he's gonna hand this belt back to Austin. I think. This is when Taker was a little bit more babyface. Yeah, and there's and see, this is where the Undertaker was kind of like in that definitely a more babyface, and maybe that was also part of that. At this moment, Undertaker was still a babyface. He didn't really do anything heel. I mean, it's a hell of a matchup, but it also might explain why the crowd wasn't as into this as they were a very heel Rock versus a very babyface Triple H. It arguably Triple H's greatest babyface reaction ever. Oh, here comes Kane. Oh, snap. Oh, we're probably not going to get to see that. Nah, they only got 20 seconds left on this. So has Kane turned babyface at this point? I don't remember. I mean, I wasn't even really watching. I didn't watch the entirety of the Attitude Era. I was a Ruthless Aggression guy. That's where I got broken in, and I had to go back and kind of fill in the blank spots for a lot of the other areas. So I'm not even adept at everything. How could you possibly be adept at everything and know everything about everything in the wrestling business? I don't think you can. But we will do our best as we continue on here. This has been a blasty blast. We're approaching half an hour. 23-minute match. Although this match was fun, there didn't need to be a whole lot of moves to get this point across. but you can definitely tell where the crowd's involvement was and was not, just based on it being the end of the night, as well as what they'd seen before, as well as just the dynamic of this. And because McMahon really was the heel in this situation, so both of these baby faces didn't have as much. I mean, Austin's the stunner was always going to get the pop, no doubt about that. But it was a very interesting match. I can't wait to see what Skyler's thoughts on this are, the Bay Area Brawler himself. You'll see and hear that on Friday. I will see you on Friday for another terrific edition of the Core Martial Podcast. Thank you for coming to this live stream, live reaction of our match of the week, and we will see you on Friday. Take care, everybody, and I hope you have a great week.